Welcome to the Carolina Justice Report. I'm Rainey with the Lovely Law Firm. Today I'm here with attorneys Sarah Austin and Amy Lawrence, and we are going back into the Murdaugh Murders with a new update. So this is our fourth Murdaugh Murder update. So if you have not seen the other ones, make sure you go back and watch. There's lots of background information there. But the last time that we chatted, it was kind of after Cory Fleming had just been indicted for all of his charges. And, you know, so now there's some new stuff coming out with him. He's kind of releasing a lot of different text messages and letters from Alex Murdaugh, that I guess he was sending, what, from rehab? I don't know. So what do we know what those said, and why is he letting everybody see those now?
Well, from what we understand, he has a bar license in Georgia. And while in South Carolina, we're not privy to any of that information with the bar. Here in Georgia, I'm guessing that you are. And so through a FOIA, they've received a letter that Cory Fleming sent on behalf of himself, asking for mercy and for them not to take his license.
Yeah, so from what I understand, Cory Fleming's law license has been suspended, obviously, in South Carolina and Georgia. And I guess he's trying to get his Georgia law license back, which is common. You hire a lawyer and you go through the system to try to get your license back. And he included some letters from Alex with his plea to the Georgia bar to get his law license
He's
back.
essentially saying, I'm a victim too. I got hoodwinked. You know,
I didn't read the letters. Have you read
I read some of them, yeah. Some of it.
I was reading some of the text, and it was just, you know, because they were explaining how close they were and that he was, you know, hoodwinked as well and didn't know anything was happening. And so, you know, some of them, I think they were sent from rehab, but it was like Alex was saying, oh, I know you won't talk to me right now, but I hope one day that we can, you know, talk again and you can forgive me. I know I've done some horrible things and I regret that, and I regret bringing you and your family into this, and I'm sorry. So I think that Cory is kind of showing this, saying, see, like I didn't know anything.
Yeah, but that's bullshit.
I was going to say, you don't believe him, right?
And the reason why it is bullshit, and we know this, and we've talked about this before, is that he was writing checks to Forge and sending them to a Hampton County P.O. box.
Well, I just think with the Satterfield stuff too, for Cory Fleming, who practices this kind of law, to not, I mean, what was described happened during that settlement approval was just so crazy and like not common, and any lawyer would walk into that room and be like, why aren't we doing what we normally do? Like, what the hell's going on here? And so for him just to pretend like he didn't know what was going on was just
and
kind of unbelievable.
It is unbelievable. Yeah, it's just unbelievable. I mean, he was writing checks to Forge. He, instead of talking to his client, was talking to the defendant. Do you know what I mean? And, you know, it was just...
He was doing things that were so unconventional.
Do you think that there's any chance that maybe he was just naive to it all because he had been so close with Alex?
I don't think so.
I think that our law clerk would have known that something was wrong.
I think my 11-year-old would know something was wrong.
Yeah, it was that wrong.
Granted, he's got two parents for lawyers, but I think my 11-year-old, who's very smart, would have said something ain't right here.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
No, I'd hold him 100% accountable.
Okay. So we're still kind of waiting on what's going to happen with Cory Fleming. You know, his story is ever evolving. But some other, you know, unique things have come out through this process, one of them being Parker's Kitchen. So this goes back to the boating accident, right?
So Beach case.
What is Parker's Kitchen, and how does that play a role into this?
Go ahead.
I thought they were the convenience store that sold Paul the alcohol the night of the boating accident.
Yeah.
And I think they've got him on surveillance video using a fake ID and buying the alcohol there with no consequence. Like, it was easy. So I was surprised to find out that they hired an investigator to follow Paul around for so long. Because in my eyes, their liability is pretty clear. They're on the hook. They could have wrote a check and got out of this a long time ago.
Well, and that's new information, right? That we're just finding out now that they hired a private investigator to follow Paul, right?
Yeah, and they gave the videos to SLED. I guess they have Paul at Moselle at least 3 days before the murder. They've got like the entryway to Moselle where the murders happened. And so it's possible that they've got the day of the murder who's coming in and who's going out, which would be huge.
Yeah.
Which also was a red flag, because I was like, why has it taken so long
for these
videos to be turned over to SLED?
And what also, this investigator was buying alcohol for Paul.
Which makes no sense. It's almost like he's trying to
Like,
stage it.
Like, that doesn't take away your liability, nor does it soften the blow of your liability.
Maybe
Do you know
that's
what
why
I mean?
they didn't turn it in, was because he was buying the alcohol for Paul.
Well, one of the things we realized when we were reading some of the articles and the stuff submitted to the court is Mallory Beach's family's attorney hired an ethics counsel, who is a guy named Mike Verzi, who is extremely well known and respected in the ethical community, and worked for
This is legal ethics.
Legal ethics,
Right.
The bar, right?
Right.
It's who he used to be a part of the Office of Disciplinary Counsel, which is who investigates and makes recommendations for your bar license to the Supreme Court. And he submits these affidavits, and he says what Parker's attorneys and Parker's investigator did was completely unethical. And now, since then, we've seen this huge shakeup where they've cleaned house, gotten rid of all their attorneys, and brought in a whole new team. And this whole new team of lawyers are mainly known for doing medical malpractice. And people think that's really weird. It doesn't really bother me so much because defense attorneys are defense attorneys are defense attorneys, and you're either good at defending something or not. It doesn't.
Is that why he got rid of? They got rid of the last.
I think that has to play a part of it. Because
it was not. I didn't even raise my eyebrows at Parker's getting a new lawyers. That happens all the time, especially if you're old lawyers. I guess as a plaintiff's lawyer, we'll be in a case for so long, and then things start going well for us.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden we get new defense attorneys. And sometimes, I don't know for sure, I've never worked on that side. John could probably speak more to that. But if those defense attorneys are saying, Parker's, you're liable, you should probably settle. You should not have hired this investigator to buy Paul, an underage kid, alcohol that's not helping you. Let's talk about settling and getting out of this, and they don't like that answer, they can easily fire their counsel.
Gotcha.
And hire somebody else who will come in.
We see that a lot, yeah.
And, still put up the front, which I don't understand why I don't understand why they even hired an investigator to follow Paul to begin with.
Right.
Because
Horrible
they're
news.
being accused of, dram shop serving alcohol to minors, over serving minors, and then they got drunk and caused this horrible boating accident. And so I don't understand what following Paul would have done for them, or what buying him alcohol would have done for their case,
Right,
which
yeah.
is just so kind of crazy. Like, why did they even do it? And now they're going to be wrapped up in a murder investigation, which is really interesting.
Yeah.
Also, I have a sneaking suspicion that Parker's is self-insured, because we do dram shops all the time.
Explain what self-insured means.
Oh,
And dram shops.
So we do dram shops all the time. So if someone's overserved or served underage, and then they go out and hurt somebody, and everybody should know this, because we just have a case here in Horry County where we were just talking about this, where a young man was overserved at a bar and killed somebody. They gave him 15 shots and let him drive out of there. And there was a kid that was filling the gas tank. His sister had run out of gas, and he went out in the middle of the night to put gas in her tank because she was coming home from work, and he hit him and killed him. And everybody's like, why is the bar responsible for this kid's actions? Well, first off, if you are the one that was overserved and you get killed or get hurt, you cannot sue that bar. That's against public policy. I actually don't agree with that logic, but the Supreme Court of South Carolina said that goes against public policy, and we won't allow it. You have to take some kind of responsibility for your own actions. Now, but what they will do is, if you hurt somebody, if that bar overserved somebody and then you go and hurt somebody, then that person is covered. And so Mallory Beach is covered because they were giving alcohol.
And all the victims in that
underage.
boat.
And all the
it's just
victims,
kind of like
not
they
just
could have
Mallory
paid
Beach.
Mallory Beach's family, but and when Amy talks about self-insured, they could have any, I don't know how big of is it a chain, Parker's?
It is a chain.
Right, and so
It's a very nice
they could
gas
have a
station,
lot of insurance. If they got $50 million of insurance and they don't want to pay all of it, I mean, they have to have enough that it would have been worth compensating those families for what they deserve and staying out of a murder investigation. But they followed Paul. I just think it's crazy.
It's like
And
extreme measures to take.
I mean, they
for
never
something.
could have known that was going to happen while they were following Paul.
Right.
But
or did they?
Dun, 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 dun.
I don't know. Maybe. It's just crazy.
It is just weird.
And
It
There's
doesn't
a
make
lot
sense.
of really, really shady stuff that they chose to do that doesn't sit well with anybody. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't matter if you agree with them or not. It just doesn't sit well with the general public that you would put an investigator to follow this young man and then buy him alcohol. right?
I mean, the buying the alcohol is unethical, but it still doesn't make sense to me why it took so long for these videos to come to light.
Yeah.
If it's not unethical or illegal to follow someone and video them.
It's not.
It happens to our clients all the time.
All the time.
Which is why.
I mean, what was the aha moment? We see you serving, selling him alcohol underage. It's on video. Like,
yeah.
Where was the aha moment? I don't get it.
Well, this is a recent thing that's come out. So, of course, I'm sure more details will surface in the coming weeks.
And I'm glad that, in hindsight, we're kind of glad that they did follow. I don't know what the point of it was, but maybe we'll get some answers now about
his death and his mom's death. Yeah, for sure. Well, some other just random things that have kind of come out. I don't know, how important, if this means anything or not, but the community police chief was said to be very close with Alex as well. And so people are starting to question if he has any kind of involvement or cover up of things, because he was, sent a $5,000 check from Alex recently.
It was more than that, right? He donated how much money?
I think it was $5,000.
No, he lent him. No, that's a whole separate issue. But he donated like a lot of money to his campaign.
Right.
How much was it?
That was separate, yeah.
I'm not sure.
It was a lot. It was a lot of money. Because let me tell you something. Local sheriffs don't get big money donations. There's no need for it, right? It was just, when I saw it, I can't remember how much it is, and I apologize for not knowing the number, but I remember it made my eyebrows, as much as my eyebrows will go up, it made them go up. But I thought it made me question it, because that's a little tiny area.
Right.
You just don't donate that kind of money. And then you see this other $5,000 check, and when they asked him, what was this check for? He said that it was
for his family or something.
A loan for his father. Well, then why didn't they write a check to you? You know what I mean? Why didn't they write checks to your daddy?
Was sent it, but he was still in rehab when he sent the check, right? It was like one of the last things that Alex, I think, did.
Listen, ain't nothing about this whole thing smell right.
I'm just surprised. If Alex Murdaugh sends me a check for $5 million today, I'm not cashing it.
Right. I'm not cashing
that money is no longer good.
$5,000.
I'm calling SLED.
Doesn't seem like
911.
that much money either. So I'm kind of like, well, what did he need that for? I don't know. It just doesn't make sense. And how does he even still have money with everything that's going on? I don't even understand this.
It's probably buried somewhere.
Didn't they freeze his accounts or something? How is he even writing stuff?
Yeah, that was sent before.
We keep coming back to, where is the money?
Yeah, where is it?
Because there's not enough opioids you can do to go through that kind of money. Where is the damn money?
Yeah.
It's hidden somewhere, whether it's offshore. I mean, because they haven't found it yet, which tells us it's either buried literally in the ground, it's hidden somewhere, or it's in offshore accounts somewhere. But they'll eventually come back to it. They always do.
Well, and going back to this police chief, he speaks very highly of Alex, even still. So, and people are wondering, was he on site with Maggie and Paul, when they were shot, or responded to that scene? And so, how close is he with his family, and is he covering anything up? What's going on there?
The Murdaugh family and the sheriff's department, the solicitor's office have been so intertwined. And one of the things that's come out is that the Murdaugh family owns these little islands through the Low Country. And one of those islands was actually donated to the sheriff's department. And there's a huge warehouse, a very large metal building on one of these little islands. And it's empty. And nobody knows what it's used for. But they put up this big, there's all these things that tie in together that just don't make any damn sense. And I'm hoping and praying that between SLED and the FBI, they can piece it together and we'll finally know.
Yeah,
I think everybody involved deserves to know. The Mallory Beach's family deserves to know what happened. The Murdaugh family, Paul, Maggie's family, they deserve to know what happened.
I think what frustrates me is Mallory Beach's family knows, they know what happened, and they're still fighting like the convenience store, and that of all the cases is the most clear-cut case. Paul was overserved, driving drunk, killed Mallory Beach, injured all of his friends. Right. So for them, it's frustrating. Like, why is this?
Give them all the money.
Yeah, now they're all wrapped up in this whole saga, and it's just kind of like, give them their money and let them try to find their peace.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
I feel the most bad for them, and all the other victims who Alex stole from, but that's unrelated.
Well, another side piece of this that is recent is, Maggie's finances were looked at recently, and they were saying that in her account she had only $58. Why is that something that's of importance? Are they wondering why there was only that much in there?
We know from her family that she had very expensive taste, right?
Right.
I mean, I think she owed, I mean, for somebody who only had $58 in their account, I think she left owing like $20,000 for some custom curtains.
Wow.
For her home. It just all doesn't jive.
But it's just like, was it moved before she passed?
Right.
Was it
Right.
moved after she passed? I'm sure that's what SLED and the FBI are doing.
Sure.
For it to be taking this long, for them, I thought they announced that they had a suspect like a while ago. And so for them to be taking this long, I feel like they must be putting together a bigger story.
A way bigger story.
Yeah.
Keeping tight-lipped about everything. So where's Alex now? What's he doing? Is he still in rehab? Is he?
He's sitting in jail.
He's in
Richland
jail.
County. Yep.
Okay.
I think he had his 4th bond
He's
hearing.
working out according to his jail house calls.
He's still talking on the
Making
phone.
friends, talking like insatiably, not making good choices.
And what is he waiting on? Is he waiting on evidence to keep piling in, or is
He's
he
waiting for his trial date. But I think that we're only going to see more charges.
Sure.
I mean, as this unfolds, they just keep piling up.
Yeah, I would be surprised if he ever comes out of jail. I think, at least from listening to his, I don't know, his jail phone calls are kind of hard. Sometimes he talks very positively, like he's going to come out of jail, but it sounds like he's plotting for Buster to like have this great life. You know, I don't think he thinks that he's going to.
I think he's trying to live vicariously.
Well, and that's been a
his
question
kid.
too. Like, there's not really any mentions of like mourning the loss of Maggie and Paul with his phone calls.
You know, and I'll tell you this. Everybody handles grief differently, right?
True, very true.
You know, and as you get older, you realize that everybody handles everything differently, and I totally get that. And it's been, you know, almost a year, and I think that you kind of triage life. So, like, I don't really hold
He
that
has
against
bigger
him.
problems really now.
You're triaging things, and so you can't really grieve your child and your wife because you're literally fighting for your own. And then you're also in your head, even though Buster is out and doing well, he has a job, he's financially secure and all those things, and has family and friends to support him and love him. He, in his head, I'm sure, because he's a parent, that he's got to, you know, fight to make sure he's okay.
Sure.
And so you can't really grieve somebody if you're triaging your life and trying to keep everything else afloat. Trying to, you know, you're treading water.
Well, and I wonder how Buster is doing now. I mean, I know you said he has a job and everything, but I don't know. Does he need some sort of like security like these days, or?
I think he'll
Probably
be.
has it.
I think that he's
feel
just
less
fine.
sympathy for Alex Murdaugh. I think that he's not talking about his wife. I think, you know, he knows where the money is. You know, we're all, where's the money? Like, he knows where it is. He doesn't want to say anything wrong or talk about his wife and Paul. I think, you know, even like as a criminal defense lawyer, you just shut up and don't talk about anything. So we can't really talk about his wife and his kid dying are part of this whole thing. He can't really talk about any of it without possibly
Implicating himself.
incriminating himself in some other part of it.
You know, in our lawyer friend circle, we all like will go have dinner or go to happy hour. We have these like huge, really
Table discussions, debates.
about like who killed Maggie and Paul, and we all kind of everybody kind of takes a position, and some people think that, you know, he had something to do with it. I can't speak for Maggie. I can wrap my mind around killing a spouse. I'm sorry, Justin, but like the one person you don't kill in a lifetime is your child.
Is your child,
right?
yeah.
You would die for your kid. You know what I mean? You would spend your last dime, you know, trying to save your babies. So I just can't wrap my mind around him intentionally trying to hurt his kid.
Well, and of course, you know, I know that you've probably heard a lot of the debates around the call. There's some sort of recording, like the police call, where Alex, I guess, finds them dead.
Yeah, the 911 call.
Yeah, and people claim, some people say they can hear it and some say they can't, but saying something like, Paul, I told you not to get involved, or, oh, Paul, you weren't supposed to be involved, something like that.
I think,
is that something that's...
I just think Paul wasn't supposed to be home.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise.
Some
Paul
people think that
wasn't supposed
maybe
to be
Paul
there. I
wasn't
just
supposed
took
to
it
be
as-
there.
Theory is, like I said, I can wrap my mind around killing a spouse, right? We've seen that time and time again, but we don't kill our children.
Right.
We die for them. We kill for them. We don't kill them. But I mean, women lift cars, right? And buses off of children. We don't kill our kids. And I could see if you were going to kill somebody, you kill a spouse, and then somehow your kid's not supposed to be there, and they get wrapped up in it. You know what I mean? That I can wrap my mind around, 100%.
Yep.
But I can't wrap. People are like, oh, he was costing the family too much money. He was like, rogue, and I'm like, you don't. It didn't matter. Like I said, you would spend your last dime
right
trying to save your babies. You don't, and we see that time and time again.
I have no idea.
I I don't know.
I can't even speculate who was involved.
The more that comes out, the more confusing it gets.
Yeah, when I heard the 911 call, I thought he was just like, and I also heard that Paul was actually supposed to be like in Colombia or something. Like it was just like, Paul, like, why the hell?
Why are you even home?
Why were you even in this situation at all?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
you should be in Colombia. Like, why are you here? So that's kind of what I got from it.
Yeah,
that's the only part of this that seems a little bit innocent.
That, and also people, it was the 911 call, and people also don't realize that call was chopped up. Do you know what I mean? And it wasn't chopped up by the Murdaugh family. It was chopped up by 911 and SLED when they released it, because they took things out of it that were personal identification.
Gotcha.
And they took parts.
So you're having a piece of it taken out. So we're not
getting the full story.
Right.
Yeah.
Not in complete context.
Oh boy. Well, thanks ladies for chatting about this once again. Of course, we're going to stay on these Murdaugh murders, and there's so much more that comes out daily. So we will, of course, inform you when we know more. Send us your questions. If you guys have any questions for us to address on the next one, let us know. Of course, you can head on YouTube to see the previous episodes. We're on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Of course, you can visit justiceislovely.com if you have questions as well to contact us. Thank you so much for watching the Carolina Justice Report today. We'll see you next time.
When life gets ugly, justice is love.